Last night, I went out for a run and heard something horrible. Submitted by Jaxerspots. I'm really not a night runner. I absolutely hate being so vulnerable in the dark, and I didn't want to run the risk of getting murdered or something by a stranger. I just went for a run last night because I got into a fight with my girlfriend. She was really angry over something, and just exploded the second she saw me. I tried to argue back, but she was just so unbelievably pissed that I ended up sitting on the couch and stared as she just screamed obscenities at me. She was antagonizing me, trying to find a way to make me the villain. She was trying to find a way to break up with me. She called me a bitch. She said I was abusive and neglectful because I keep prioritizing work over her. She said that I'm an asshole because she believes I'm cheating on her with some woman at my work. Some other stuff. I don't even remember. I just mumbled a small, sorry. I would have said more, but I knew if I spoke another syllable, I would break into tears and look like some manipulative jerk. She looked unimpressed and a little surprised when I got up from the couch and grabbed my sneakers by the doorstep. It wasn't the best way to end the night. I should have actually talked to her, but I needed a way for me to get a quick cry out before I faced her. I balanced my tears as I opened the front door and started to walk down the driveway. I wasn't even in running clothes, just a t-shirt and some leggings. I heard her call me another name and slam the door hard. I stared back at the house for the second, before just taking off. I never ran so fast as I did before. Tears were streaming down my face, and I could barely see where I was going. If I was in plain daylight, someone would have seen my face, so I was sort of glad that it was dark out. I didn't have to deal with stares, and I could sob as loudly as I want because only a few people went out at night, and even less at 12 a.m. Was she really going to break up with me after 3 years? I was gonna propose. I must have missed my turn or something when I found myself in a more rural area of town. I wasn't paying much attention to where I was going, so I was on the street with a forest on one side, and a cornfield on the other. I couldn't see much since I forgot to bring a flashlight in my hurry to leave, so the moonlight was the only thing guiding me. My adrenaline began to die down and instead replace itself with paranoia and fear. I was a tiny woman, and I had no idea where I was or if someone was near me. I quickly looked around, and wiped the tears off my face. It wasn't a cold night, it was actually pretty humid, but I still felt shivers race up and down my back. After 5 or so minutes, I calmed myself down. If someone was out to get me, they would have gotten me already. I tried not to think about it. Instead, I just tried to breathe normally and stretch a little bit to relieve some tension. I straightened myself out and began to walk in the direction I came from, still preoccupying myself with moments from the fight with my girlfriend. I was just enveloping myself with self-pity when my gut suddenly churned. I felt like I was being watched. I looked around me once more, and saw nothing. I sighed through my nose, and continued to walk when I heard a loud crack coming from the forest pierce through the night. My heart picked up, but then realized it could have just been an animal stepping on a stick. It must have been a big stick, though. It was just a stick, it was just a stick, it was just a stick. I continued to walk, brushing the sound off into the back of my head. But after a few seconds, the most blood-curdling scream burst from the forest. It sounded like a woman, and it was the worst thing I ever heard in my life. I don't even know how to explain it. It was the most guttural, inhumanely humane sound I ever heard, like someone's soul was being ripped out of their body. I jumped at the sound, and my heart picked up. The voice was silenced as quickly as it came. Not by a crack, but just cut off. What the fuck? I hissed to myself, staring into the dark woods, trying to see something. Anything. Another horrific scream erupted from the woods like a gunshot. It was from a man. It was just as, if not even more so, terrifying as the woman. The man's voice carried on for a long time, before another crack. I was covered in cold sweat and stared at the forest. I watched horror movies. I knew I shouldn't run in there. But still, what if someone was in danger? I reached for my phone that would usually be in my pocket, before remembering that I was wearing leggings. I didn't even have my phone with me. I never hated myself more than in that very moment. There was a little bit of movement coming from the forest, some sticks breaking and leaves crunching, but no other screams or cracks. I glanced at the cornfield next to me, and unconsciously backed up a step. My foot instead found itself on a branch in the street, and it crunched loudly, echoing throughout the night. More sweat raced down the side of my face. No one heard that, right? I was by myself in the street, and those two screams came from my imagination. Hello? A booming male voice exploded from within the forest. Is there someone there? The second sentence was playful and even more terrifying. like the person wanted to play a game of hide and seek. I remained silent and still. My entire body was frozen. I felt like a deer staring into headlights. I'm going to die, I'm going to die. I heard footsteps coming closer and closer to me, and instant adrenaline flowed into me. I bolted straight into the cornfield, and hit into a ball on the ground as soon as I knew I was far enough in. I couldn't make another noise otherwise, those people might find me. It's dark enough. I think I saw something running, the playful voice called out again. Did a little lady get scared? Oh, God no. Please no. I looked up and saw a flashlight skimming the top of the fields, as footsteps began to come towards the field. I nearly started crying again. This was too much for me. My heart was pounding so loudly I thought he must have heard it. I didn't want to do anything more except get up and run, but I remained still. The footsteps came closer to me, powerful steps making the ground tremble. The light flashed right next to me, now scouring the ground. Tears fell from my eyes, and I kept them closed, waiting for the inevitable. Aha! A little lady. I jerked my head up to darkness. I looked around me and saw the flashlight pointed several feet away from me, to a small baby deer curled up into a ball in the field. I could barely make out any shapes or figures. I wasn't even positive that it was a baby deer, but I knew a hand had reached out and clasped around that animal's neck. It's a shame. I always liked having a little chase. Crack. The animal was picked up and dragged away, leaving me panting from horror. I was still crouched and curled up. I heard footsteps quickly walk away, and into the forest. I didn't hear any sound. There was complete silence. My eyes were filled with tears, and my hands were clenched into fists, my nails digging into my palms. I still stayed for another hour, before I decided to cautiously get up and quietly tiptoe away. I stared at the ground, moving my feet only onto places that I knew weren't going to make a sound. When I got back onto the street, I ran for my life, not even bothering if I was making a sound. When I was several meters away, I heard a flashlight click on, and I knew that my figure was being illuminated by the light. Shit. I picked up my pace and ignored my aching legs. I didn't hear him run behind me, but instead, he followed me with the flashlight till I rounded a corner. See you soon. I heard a faint voice call after me. I didn't even realize how fast I was running till I made it back to a sliver of civilization. I found myself near a neighborhood that I recognized and walked my way back home. My door was unsurprisingly locked, and no one would answer when I knocked or rang the doorbell. I sighed and waited on the porch for about 10 minutes, till my girlfriend finally opened the door and let me inside. Me and my girlfriend didn't talk. I just locked every door and window the second I got inside and called the police while I was in the bathroom. They thanked me for the report and insisted that they'll call back as soon as possible. When I came out, my girlfriend was waiting in the living room. She was expecting something from me, but I knew I wasn't emotionally available at the moment to pamper her with apologies or reassurances. When she realized I wasn't going to talk, she murmured a good night as she retired to the bedroom. I didn't reply. Instead, I sat on my couch, and let the memories flow back into me. He said, "See you soon." I woke up this morning on my couch, still covered with a cold sweat. I didn't check up on my girlfriend to see whether she was even here. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling. She was the last thing that was on my mind. I kept thinking about last night, the memories sticking to my every thought. See you soon. He couldn't have possibly figured out who I am. He just saw my tiny figure in the distance. He probably couldn't even tell what my shirt color was. Unless he did see me. He might have seen my face when I was frozen in that street. The moon was pretty bright. How did he immediately know that I was a woman? He said little lady even before he saw that baby deer. Was he waiting for me to get up? So he could have a little chase? Is he still chasing me? The police haven't called me back yet. I don't know what to do.